Welcome to Pyramid One Radio.
To call and to speak to Kelly, use these numbers. Dial 605-472-5765. Then dial the access code 608060#. Then to join the session, which will be awesome. Congratulations, you are now ready. Tell everyone we expect 1,000 people listening on their phones from all over the world.
This is a Pyramid One International Network presentation. Good evening, and welcome to Conscious Speaks. Let me tell you a little about the host. Her name is Kellie J. Wright. You all know her. Tonight, be a part of the conversation. What it means to truly love yourself. Free of judgment, fear, ego, pride, and jealousy. She says, we learn to undo what we have accepted or taken on as part of our perception of self. We are free from negative self-talk. Start a 90-day transformation, and she will assist along your journey. Whenever two or more are in his presence is how this works. Kellie's ebook is how she walked her mind out of doubt and fear, one blog at a time for 13 weeks, into loving and acceptance of self. The first step is the hardest, and it will become a way of life. Once we know we can free our thoughts from fear, the work becomes a staple item to the goodness it provides. Life is a gift. So make sure you choose to wrap yours in a world that is created by and lived on your terms. Kellie J. Wright is a successful radio show host, self-love transformational guide, business owner, and voice and author at www.internaljourneys.com. Kellie is on a passion-filled mission to help individuals discover their own truth through her actualized process called the 90-Day Transformation. Now, may I introduce to you, the audience, to the entire world, to the universe, to the light, Kellie J. Wright. Oh, yeah.
I always wait for your finger to point at me. So, hi, everybody. Hi, Bob. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
It's a little
I was
warm,
waiting for that
but
cue.
yeah, I'm sorry. It was, it's hot here. I mean, I'm telling you, it was like overnight summer.
When you said that it was 91 degrees there,
Yeah.
I don't work with envy or jealousy or any of that. I never have. So when people will tell me things they're doing, I just say, "Oh, I'm so excited for you." But I was jealous. I'm like, I was just dreaming. I was just telling Freya and Celine that we're going to go to the desert for a week. We need a vacation. We need to be somewhere warm. So 91 is that sounds dreamy right now to me.
And we have this is Florida, so it's like it's
Humid.
the humidity, what's its capital, of
Yeah.
the world. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, you get up in the morning and it looks like fog, but it's not. It's
No,
the
no, I've
water.
been there and I've
It's the
spent time
water
there.
in the air, So
Yeah, there's certain, I've traveled a bit in my life, and when you go to Florida, there are, you dress a certain way.
yeah,
For me,
nothing.
I always made sure I don't like things to cover my armpits
Yeah.
anyways. I like my arms to be free, but you just make sure that whatever you're sweating in isn't going to get drowned in, and that you're, comfortable. So
No, it's not bad though, because I mean, well, here where we are, and down from us, like you could walk there just about. There's like this huge, I mean, huge pool, and most of the time there's only a couple of people there. So like you can
that's
go in
nice.
that. You got one of those hot water things in that with the jets on and everything else in that. So it's like, oh man, you just lay in there and go, it's one of
Yeah,
those things.
unfair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I get wired on the radio and then I go down there and I unwire.
Well, when I was in Desert Hot Springs, I lived there for a little bit over a year. After Malibu, I was spirit led there to a healing water center, Mineral Springs. So we had
Ooh.
like there was 3 huge pools, and it had 8 of the jacuzzis, and there was hardly anybody there. And I started swimming, and that's when I fell in love with swimming. Was in the desert, but yeah, I know what you mean about going there to unwind. It was just part of the. What was really cool about Desert Hot Springs was I was living at a 55 and over community, and I loved it because it was so peaceful. And I one time was talking to some friends when we were just hanging out in the pool, and I was telling them about my journey and the third transformation and what I originally thought the third transformation was. Just like at the beginning of the second one, was this place where I was going to just pick something to do and practice doing it well, like yoga or, working with my diet, something fun. And I was going to,
Mhm.
it's a vision of mine to create a song. And so that was on my list. And, it turned into something else really quickly. And that I'm thankful for it because it was my third transformation that literally walked my mind through myself and back in to seat my soul with my self-worth. But I remember telling them, I said, yeah, well, I'm a little bit crazy, all these things are doing. And they just stopped. They said, oh, we know you're crazy. You're 30. No, I was in my 40s. They said, you live in like an over 50 community and you're like the youngest person here. And you're just all in your own world, singling out, waltzing around, getting up. I'd work out 3 times a day, did my radio show. I was going to school, and just really, it was a really good point until the third transformation really started. I call it that. And I'll just leave it at that. But it turned into I don't know how we just jumped into this, but the third transformation, it really is to find your self-worth. And when you're looking for your self-worth, it's going to come in ways that you weren't expecting it. And it's different for everybody. So I have a client that's graduating her third transformation rather soon. And I have a client that's going into a third transformation. So it's fun to see them really there doing the similar work. Yeah, internal journeys is about freedom, emotional freedom, and I feel like I really just burst through some gates in the last week, and I didn't even know that that's what I was doing. So, I didn't get the cue for me to go at the beginning, and I'm really good at hand signals. So I just want to say again, everybody out there is listening, thank you. Welcome to the show. I am thankful that you're listening. I think we're going on our 2nd month here with the new radio show,
yeah.
Conscious Speaks.
Yeah.
And so I think that we're doing really great. The show has evolved. We're having fun. People are calling in, and I've got people messaging me and wanting to find out where the show is, and I'm giving them links. And so it's spreading. And the more that you share the show on your Facebook or on your social media pages or call a friend, this is a worldwide radio show. We can reach anywhere. Bob has mentioned before about, doing shows from some crazy places like Nepal, and doing shows in the middle of the night over in Asia. And so anybody can listen. Obviously, they're gonna have to work through time zones, but we're gonna make it pretty fun. We're gonna make it that it's gonna be worth staying up past your normal rhythmic bedtime, because I've got some new promotions coming out. I'm taking self-love to the next level. I really had some huge epiphanies that I needed to happen for me, and I am really starting to feel them coming to life. We've got a brand new t-shirt that was just created by Michael Gutson, who is this amazing marketing guru who created the internal narcissies logo. And so we have a new t-shirt that we're going to be launching, and we've got some different things that are going to be accompanying that. So on the radio show, we're going to have some call-ins, some giveaways. We're going to entice you to call in and reward you, right? It's all about reward systems, I guess. I'm learning that because I have a new puppy, and I didn't trade Freya with reward systems. I traded with touch and, love. And now that I'm busy and she's helping me train the puppy, I looked at her today and I'm like, oh my God, we had a baby. It just feels like,
Yeah, really.
It's just like all of a sudden she's looking at me like, why am I having to do this? And I'm like, well, I'm busy. You got to do it now. And so it's just like, so there's a lot more treats involved this time. And it's really precious to have Celine here with Freya and I, and I'm going to be, it's been a thing for Conscious Speaks Radio to always go on the road. And that's another platform that Pyramid Network One provides, and Bob provides, is I can take my laptop and do my radio show anywhere there's internet.
Anywhere.
And so anywhere, right, Bob?
Yep, anywhere.
And
I did it. I've done it. I've done it from the front seat of my car.
Right.
On a cell phone.
That's pretty cool.
So, I mean, seriously, you can do it from any place, anywhere in the entire world. I mean, imagine. You said it before you said emotion and things. Imagine how good you feel when you can speak to anyone, anywhere.
Yeah.
Is that huge?
Really cool. It's really cool. It's really huge. And I've been feeling the power of that just with sending the radio show out. I'm never a person who is trying to just mass communicate and blanket the world with this, what's going on, and hope that people find it. I'm really all about relationships, and I've grown slow. I've grown the project slow. I don't get ahead of myself. I really wanted the project to be what it came to be, and not what I forced it to be, and what I would never force it to be, actually. But I needed it to become what it really was, and that was a journey of awakening, a journey of claiming my true self, and in a way that I never knew. And so even just recently, as of this last week just blew my mind, but it shouldn't have. I'm not surprised. I've been working on it, right? I've been chewing on it. There's this little part of me that I've been chewing on and trying to figure out. And so if you're there too, that's what it is. Sometimes it just takes a while to work on that part that you've got to move forward to. I have 4 new clients that just started, and I'm really excited. They're amazing people, and it's brave work, and I'm honored to work with them. And I actually have 1 seat open. So if anybody's interested to work with me in a transformation, to call and have a consultation to find out what it is, give me a call. I have 1 seat available now, and as soon as my client graduates from her 3rd transformation, which I foresee in the next month, depending on how long this takes to process, I'll have another seat. So there's only 2 seats available. I only work with 12 clients at a time. I'm completely and utterly committed to your emotional care and your awakening journey, and to your self-love journey, because it's yours. And so for me to be able to keep it yours, I keep my focus on just 12 clients. That's my max.
Let me remind everybody too. You can call in and you can ask Kellie any questions about this right now for free. Yeah. The number's 605-472-5765, and the access code is 608060#.
Yay.
That's all you got to do. Call in. How easy is this, or what?
Call
And
in.
by the way,
Throw me I'm just gonna keep it. Throw me a landline.
yeah, you got tweets too, and that going all over the world, and we just went over a couple of minutes ago. Let me see. Join you at Pyramid One Network Radio live right now, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So
Oh,
you see, I mean, these things are flying all over the place.
that's great. That's great because you never know when it's gonna hit, and you never know who you're gonna be inspired by. I had I've just had some amazing things that I've been sharing, and people have really been sharing them too. So you know when it's right because everyone starts pinging on it. And self-love is really it's self-care. And when you do mirror those together, you get to start paying attention to your intuition and your inner guidance system. If you're just running on one or trying to do one without the other, they don't really mirror up. Self-care is not, is more like pampering and relaxed time, and self-love is really going into to figure out, it's always going to come back to, growing up, things that happened, in our early relationships or in our early 20s, how we became the person we are, how we adapted our emotional reactions and reactions to love, how we communicate. And that's so divinely inspiring for me is that I didn't realize, how wrong I had been doing it all. And I'm not afraid to say that. I mean, we were always doing the best we could, myself and whomever I was in a relationship with. Everybody's doing the best they can. But I look back now and I think I had no clue how to communicate. How do we grow up in a world and not know how to communicate? It's just so funny. It's not. I hate it when we say funny. It's a really bad word that people grab, and you'll always hear me
somewhere,
say that.
yeah, but
It's not
remember
funny.
though,
It's not funny.
somehow, somewhere, everybody lost it though, because we came into this technical part. You know what I mean? Like, with the twits and all the rest of the stuff that goes with it, and text is and all the stuff.
I don't Twitter, so I don't get lost in that.
Yeah, but
I
I'm
do a
saying,
little bit just for the
though,
show, but
this is instead of talking to someone. A lot of people would rather, send an SMS or whatever they do or however they do it, but it's
yeah,
all electronic. And
right.
I think it's the most insensitive thing that I
Yeah.
mean, no, I mean, come on, we come from an era where you could actually go up and hug, give a hand, do all these things and above. And I used to talk to big crowds.
Yeah.
Hey, you could do that. Now I've got to talk to like in the morning, and then somebody will send me a text to say, "Well, when you do this," and I say to them another thing: why didn't you just call me? You
Yeah,
know,
I understand that that's okay. So this is getting a little bit off where I ended, but I like where it went. Um,
we got a caller too,
okay, I'm going to stop. I'm always going to take the caller first. We'll come back to it
but
if it's
keep your
meant to
keep
be.
your thought. Keep your
I
thought. It
will.
was I'm feeling it from here. It was a good
Okay.
thought.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah.
it was kind of funny in one way or another too. But hey, that's me. The caller that's calling in from area code 480. Hi, how you doing?
Hey, Bob, it's JK.
JK, man, what's up? You got my Facebook.
Hi.
Yeah, I do.
There you go. There you go. See, if Facebook that went out too to a billion people. So that was all over the place too.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
yes, that's
another
good.
unfriendly place.
Well, it's not. What can you do? Sometimes you got it when you got it.
Yep.
Well, it's interesting because JK is one of my clients now, and he said that that's okay to say. And he mentioned it on the radio show when he was on a couple weeks ago. But even it has, and I'm going to bring up a subject that he'll probably be able to chime in on regularly. I mean, not regularly, but from the heart. And it has to do with what we were speaking on, communication. So I'll go back to how we weren't taught to communicate when we're younger, and then we'll caveat back to your tangent about how people want to talk on text versus voicemail or voice talking and all that good stuff.
Telephone.
But even with my clients, this is really interesting. With my clients, the way I found it's best to work is through the phone. I don't Skype with my clients. And John was like, "Well, why aren't we Skyping?" Because he really wanted to, get that personal, touch when we talk. But I know that removed allows us to go deeper into our thinking for our processing. But you could ask you can ask JK about that. He'll tell you about what he thinks about, communicating.
What about it, JK?
Well, to be honest with you, communication overall is almost dead, and it's really kind of sad that because we lost connections with with humanity, basically.
That's what I see. That's exactly what I said. What he said.
But getting back with Kelly, see, I like talking to people on Skype, but the phone stuff between me and Kelly works absolutely wonderful.
Oh, good. I'm glad you like it.
Actually, I get probably more out of it than I anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that because we talked about that for quite a while about why that. I was trying to figure out how to keep making it feel good that wasn't going to happen. And so I'm glad that you understand or that you connect to it now and see that there is an added benefit to that veil between you and I's face so we could hear our words and our harmony.
Well, the reason that is because you're authentic. And a lot of people out there pretend that they have authenticity when they don't have it at all. And you definitely authentic and great
Thank
to
you.
work.
Well, there you go.
Oh, I'm so touched. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sundays
I love you.
I love you too. We got a long journey ahead, so it's only begun. A 90-day transformation is 90 days, but JK is going to do the whole self-love mastery. So we'll be together working for about 1.5 to 2 years. And that's how long the process is if we go slow and do this right. And your whole life can become exactly what you've always been waiting for it to. And only you know that truly, not me. I just help you.
Yeah, you're my guide dog.
I like it.
And I'm blind, and you're my guide dog.
Well, you know what? I have about 40 pairs of eyes, so it's good. So I can see it all. So I have no fear.
Hey, I got a question for you. JK.
Sure.
When you're starting this and everything, because I want everybody to know about this. This is not a difficult thing to do. All it is talking and realizing who, what, when, where, how, and why you were and are what you are. Correct?
Pretty much, yeah, that is the case. It's not difficult, but then again, it is difficult because you have to admit to yourself that you're not a perfect human being.
Bingo. And nobody is, right?
That's true.
No.
We're imperfect, and that's the reason we're here to learn the lessons that we need to learn and to help others with what we know.
Right.
Perfect.
And I think the hardest part too, because I know I've done the work as well, so it's just taking that millisecond to admit I might be wrong. That I might be wrong. The way I feel, what I believe, might be wrong. Maybe and this is not about belief systems with religion or God or anything. I'm just talking about the way that you perceive a thought or a memory or the way that you think that you like things. I have done this work inside and out, all the way up and down, every thought, every idea, every relationship I've been in, I've analyzed. I'm a dream worker. I've done past life work with it. I've looked at everything. And I still sometimes am surprised and I'm like, that wasn't really right. Even just, one thing that JK said and one thing that Bob said is about communication being lost. And I'm gonna be the devil's advocate and say I don't believe it's lost. I believe we've gotten further behind it. People are still trying to communicate. And I think that's the difference with what I was trying to pull together just a moment ago is that when we were growing up, we were all just growing up together at school, in the world. And this is any time during, evolution. And everyone's surviving and trying to do and get and have, right? I mean, in the olden days, people were just trying to get food so they could eat every night and wake up in the morning and hopefully have a warm place to sleep. Now people are thinking about, a million other things. And so we're really in this relationship of just trying to provide. We're not hunter-gatherers. We are just literally I don't even know what those words are. They're gonna have to come to me later, because it's not the hunter gatherer where the standard relationship is to build a life through a season to sustain your village, your people, for another year, another life, right? This is people just each day trying to get what they need that makes them feel better. So our reward system, right? Our reward system, like we were talking about earlier with the dog, it is completely askew. And that comes down to this electronic messaging and talking. I really, people forget that if they send you a message, that you still have a life, you have a day, you have plans, you have commitments, and when we work on different schedules, they're opposing. So, 24-hour access has made it a lot different. And if someone is trying to communicate with someone and they're not getting the answer they need, instead of trying to work it out and figure out why that person can't give them the answer, people just move on. They're just going wherever they can to get that, it's like that Vegas, that machine, ding, 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 right? We're just trying to get some kind of emotional need met. And one of the things I learned in my third transformation, mind you, was, and this was spirit driven. I'll tell you a story. Like I love the Spirit Center for Living, and when I moved to Big Bear, California, I found one up there, and I was like, holy cow, they've got one. It was the sweetest, cutest little center, and I started going there. And your first day there as a new person, they give you a little, welcome package, and and they pick a coin for you out of a bag, and they hand you a coin. Now this coin has a word stamped on it, right, or something, or like a phrase, and mine said comfort. And as soon as I held it in my hand, I just knew. I was just like, ah. And the person I was with, his said dream, and I'm like, I want that one, because I knew as soon as I held that coin that said comfort that I didn't know how to self-soothe myself. I was still working on that. There were parts that I needed to learn how to be able to comfort myself. And we're not talking about getting an ice cream or not doing something that you shouldn't do. We're talking about truly being able to comfort yourself, to cool your blood, to be able to be at peace. And I just was sitting there shattered, because I was like, this is my work. And I knew the person sitting next to me didn't really know how to dream. So I was like, we had the right coins, but I would have traded for anything, because I thought I was ready to keep dreaming bigger. That's the thing. We're always ready to think we're dreaming bigger, but we've got work to do. Self-soothing, comfort, right? Working through self-worth. We don't look outside of ourselves to find someone to heal us. I've done this. Okay, this is the part I don't like on the show, when I'm directed to talk about something that I did wrong. Like I worked through this in my fourth or fifth transformations. It was like, why are you texting this person? You wouldn't have texted them. You haven't texted them in so long. What do you need? So I would start questioning everything I was doing, because I had to undo my emotional responses. I have undone them to such a level that it's most people would do it. It's a little bit maddening, but that was what I was shown to do, and that's what my drive was to do. But it's those conditionings, those ways of communicating that still, I'm going to tell you, it's always going to go back to how we were raised. And it's not shaming. Everyone grows up differently. No matter what house you're in, no matter what household, whether you think it's a perfect one or not, we all are growing up in a certain way that builds our communication system, how we react and how we deflect, how we communicate. So that morphs into everything over time as we're growing up, and it's morphing with technology. So, I was laughing when Bob was talking about, the old days, because my roommate and I, we had we had a studio apartment up on Capitol Hill, and we kind of were the hub. Everybody looked to, the plans were made from there, from me in that house, and then everybody grouped together and went out. We were in our 20s. We lived on Capitol Hill. And so it was like a recording thing. There's a message machine we had. Do you remember those, when you actually had a tape, a message? And, we would record on the message where we were. And then if we were out, it was so cool, because the new thing was you could call your recorder from your phone and change it. So everybody knew to check the machine to figure out where everyone was, right? Now, we didn't have the texting and the cell phones and all that, but I'm just trying to say, this is how communication changes. This is when we were all still going out together. We would find each other out. Where's everybody at, right? Where are we going? And now people don't even make it there because they feel like they're communicating and having these conversations because of social media. Right? We feel like we're talking to someone because we're watching their day. When someone calls, we don't answer the phone because we're like, oh my God, the phone's ringing. Why are they calling me? Right? And I've been guilty of that. That's communication lost, right? That's communication lost when we don't answer that phone. When we're afraid to pick up a phone and someone's calling us. I mean, tell me what you think, Bob.
I'm listening to your conversation and I'm saying to myself, wow, that Ben there did that. I mean, it was strange but true. When we were playing, see, that's how people used to find us. We used to leave the message on the machine and say at 8:00, whatever else net will be over, especially when we're in California, because in California you get lost very easily. So you would say, okay, this is how you get. I would say it on the tape. This is how you get there. You take this road here to this road here to this road here, and you can't miss it. The sign's in the front. So I mean, and that's the way it was. Today you'd have to text to somebody. And I'm sorry, I don't do it in the car. And if somebody does text me and that when I'm in the car, tough.
I don't answer them in the car either. I think
I don't do that kind of stuff. And too many people do. Let me give you a story. JK's gonna love this. There's a little old lady that pulls up next to me. Okay, she's in a very nice car. I think it's a Camaro or something. So when I turned around, I almost fell out my door. But
drooling on the car.
No. I mean, I've got a nice new van, so I mean, I don't care. I'll just roll over her car. But
It's so funny.
I'm serious. But anyway, though, the woman's standing there, right? She gives me this look like I'm looking down at her, really. So okay, so she's over there, she's doing her thing, and then all of a sudden she starts texting. This lady is in this Camaro, and she's texting, and she's going all kinds of crazy. Yeah, right, exactly. So every single time that she's doing it, I could see her, man. She was concentrating, and you know how it is. That's what we do. That's what we should do, but not that way. Yeah, so she's concentrating. So every single time she got into that mode, JK, you ready for this? I took two hands and put it on the horn. I mean, this woman's going crazy. Everything else, I'm going.
You guys.
I was so bad. I mean, by the time that thing turned gray, she went off like a bat out of hell, away from me. And I'm serious.
You are bad.
But that's how much I don't.
Good.
I mean, I'm serious. I don't like it. Yeah, but this woman she was like in there, like she didn't care if the car fell apart right around her. That's how concentrated she was. Until I put two hands on the horn. Well, it was great. It was fantastic. But in other words,
part of the chaos.
Yeah, if you see Bob Charles on the road, don't park next to me.
I am at peace in the car, and I know that when I get into that vehicle and drive, that my life is really, it's not safe. I pray. I do the protections around my car from place to place. Actually, I should say it is because I am protected, I believe, and I always do my prayers. But you get on the road, and it's dangerous. You don't know who's driving next to you. You don't know what they're on. You don't know if they're upset, if they're distracted. They're distracted driving.
You realize it's not defensive driving anymore. It's survival.
Oh, it's not defensive. Yeah,
it's
and
survival.
my father who raised me, my stepfather taught me defensive driving. And old school driving, like how you're supposed to drive, where the left side's the fast lane. That's the passing lane, and you got to flash if someone's there and you get out of the way. Now, if you do that, someone would road rage you and step on their brakes.
Right.
What were you going to say, JK?
No, I agree with you. It's really dangerous out there these days.
He agreed to survival.
Yeah, it is. And, I almost feel like that's the same for the internet and social media.
Now, can you imagine if you got somebody that's riding next to you or around you and that's drunk and texting? Ooh, that's pretty bad.
I hope they're not doing that because that's even more dangerous. They say that if you take your eyes off the road to text, it's like drunk driving for like so many seconds. I can't remember. That's the same thing. And so, I decided a long time ago. I always tell everybody I didn't take Oprah's challenge, but I heard it and I knew that was wise. If we can't wait to get to the next place we're going to answer a phone call, we are not in a good spot. Even if it's for business. I mean, it shouldn't be that dramatic, right? It's that whole thing of self-soothing. If you're in an emotional fight with your lover and you're on the freeway or the road texting and driving, you should be put on restrictions. Like, you should have to do some time. Like, that is really unfair to people who are driving with their kids or with their family. And but I've been that person where I was driving distracted, and I'm texting. It was a long time ago, but you're texting and you're totally out of your mind because you're trying to go somewhere, but your other is fighting with you, and you're trying to fix it while you're driving. Like, how's that going to happen? Especially when you're texting and you're not talking. It's just like, there's like, how many, they say 6 degrees of separation from someone.
Right,
How
right.
many degrees of separation are you from really making an impact on each other at that point?
Uh-huh.
Not only are you in 2 different spaces, 2 different places, mentally, physically, the car, the texting, the driving. I mean, it's communication. I don't think it's not lost because people are still talking. Is it working? I don't think so. Are we trying? Yeah. That's what transformation work does. Really, if Diana calls in, that's what we're in a second transformation. It's all about communication and how you're communicating with yourself, and you learn to see how you're communicating with yourself and what you're actually saying. And now sometimes it's not even really what you mean, but that's what you're giving the whole world to hear. Like, what they're hearing is not your true and highest self. It's not who you mean. It's just all this other stuff. And I know because I did it. I have clients who do it all the time, and my clients will kick and drag their heels during the second transformation sometimes because the first 2 are so powerful. And by the end of it, they're like, oh my gosh, I get it. I'm so thankful that I did this work. I'm so thankful that I hung in there. And it's powerful to really learn to speak. And it's not like you do it perfect at the end, but you have the tools now to really try and speak your truth and to say it to the person, not have conversations in your head, not walk away from people you love that might get in a car that you'll never see again, that you've walked away on bad terms, right? There's so many options in this world for people to not see each other or to misunderstand each other. And we don't have to. We don't have to do that. We can learn to really take down pride, take down fear, take down ego, the false part of it anyways, the fearful part of it, liberate it to be from our highest good, that we use those parts of ourselves to operate our mind and body, because we need them. We do. But we need them to be balanced in love and fear so we could seek the soul, so we could shine bright, right, in the hues of our own intentions, and literally love people right where they are without having them to be anything else or to be totally with you. This whole thing. I'm on the cusp of cell phones. I'm on the cusp of social media. Like, I didn't grow up texting and being on social media with my friends and my boyfriends since I was 12. That's the newer generations. I escaped that. So that laugh was just, I feel sorry. I think that they should teach classes and courses of how to not be affected by communication that's not happening to you face to face.
All right,
we have a call?
Yes, we do.
Good. Be a landline.
Yeah, who's on area code 206? And by the way, JK, stay there. I got you.
Stay there, JK.
Still here.
Okay.
Area code 206. Who's there?
Diana.
Diana.
Yay!
There you go.
Touchdown.
I love your show. My mind is probably circling around so much with all of these different thoughts. I love JK calling in. I'm trying not to talk about myself so much, but just tie into the topics that you're talking about, like communication, which is such a huge thing, and technology. To me, that is like one of the really important ways that Kellie works, is that we don't do video, because that is a distraction. It's like a visual distraction, and it allows people to remove veils, and it does reveal harmony and authenticity. And I think when you hear another person's voice and you're just listening with spirit involved and a guide, that the message comes through so much clearer than like looking at a picture, which is kind of relates to technology in a way.
Right. Yes. Thank you for saying that. It's so true. So true. And you could talk about yourself as much as you like.
Okay. I'm always game.
I like that. Okay.
Sure.
But still tie it into the topic. Yeah, I'm in my 10th week of my second 90-day transformation, and so I'm in week 10 of 13. It's been a little bit of a rocky road for me because, well, I don't know why, but then I looked back at a Facebook post. I got a great big huge aha moment last night after talking to Kellie, and I didn't get it. I didn't get it last night particularly, but when I went back through my notes and processed it this morning, it's like, oh, I get it. Like I can, because we're exploring our internal dictionaries and the words that we use and our inner family relationships, and I'm telling my story, like, I'm so angry with my sister because of blah, blah, blah. And she's like, why are you fighting? Why? It's about surrender and love. And that's so funny. What is about this transformation work is because you're first introduced to these topics and you get all of these, I get it, aha moments. And then life happens and you're kind of spun back around, and every time you go back into them, you're just continuing to relearn on a deeper level how to deal, using them, remembering them, how to deal with life. And it's like, why am I fighting? Like, there's no point to it. Like, surrender, unconditional love.
Yeah, the thing that Diana is talking about was I was trying to show her a mirror to say, who are you really fighting, right? When you're feeling this way, who are you really fighting? We're just fighting ourselves, right? When we have two lenses to look at something through, love and fear, and we have two ways to love, conditionally or unconditionally. And so if we're still having disagreements with people we love that are really bothering us, first, that's conditional. And we're looking at it through fear. So when we flip it, then we learn how to love unconditionally. No attachments, right? Like, why am I having this agitation? And you're probably the only one having it, right? Because it comes back to us, we were talking about earlier, we're having conversations in our head, right? Nobody's hearing. And as I was talking to a friend of mine earlier this week, by the time that you finish having this argument or you work through processing this whole ordeal in your head, and when you see this person again, it's over. You don't even bring it up because you've spent so much time, you've exhausted yourself. And it never really was anything that you were going to bring up because it was just your stuff. Right. So if we could learn that, which like we do in a 9-day transformation, we learn to diffuse all that and realize none of this has to happen, right? Is that that's what we were talking about last night?
Well, and then when you said, I might be wrong, that would always hit the really...
she doesn't like it.
According to me. What? I might be wrong? No. It's like, yes, I might, I just might be wrong here. But it's like to me, that's the flipping of the mirrors. It's like, instead of being in the fight and in the story, it's like when I just am amazed at how often you have to be reminded of all of these spiritual principles, though, and how, you practice them and you store them up so that when you do go into, whatever darkness, to, turmoil or whatever, you remember them. And I wrote something down. I said, I vow to shorten the duration and lessen the intensity.
I like it. There's two things you mentioned.
Perpetuated.
There's two things that you mentioned there, and one is that you're surprised that it's so hard to remember them, and I'm not, because it took a long time for me to, and I practice every day. Once you do this, you're practicing, right? you're practicing the other way of doing it anyways. You're just better at it when we're doing it from fear. We learned that, so we just practice it, and it became our communication line. So what we're doing is unlearning it, and then we are practicing a new way. So it does take time, and that's why we have that's why we stay together and work together for so long, because it's a constant going back to remember, oh yeah, I learned that. Oh yeah, this is what I remember that. And then I go back and sit with it, and I'm recoding that I relearned it, right? And so it's like practicing anything, a prayer. It's like practicing meditation. It's like practicing a yoga pose, right? When we learn it the first time, we're not as good as we're going to be when we practice it for, 3 years. We're going to be able to go into that pose and do things that blow a first-year yoga student away, right? Because that's what practice does. We don't know. Diana and I were talking about this. I'm never surprised what the connections come up are. And she was talking about her transformation work in a second transformation, and it reminded me of mine, because my boyfriend and I lived down in Malibu. We went to go see Jeff Bridges' concert at the Canyon, and I just tried to look it up, but I can't. Oh yeah, here it is, the song. I'll send it to you, Diana, later. But so I went to see Jeff Bridges, right, the dude, and I didn't know he did music, and so I'm here at this concert, and it's really intimate, and I'm just totally digging Jeff Bridges and his whole vibe and his whole band. And I'm sitting there, and this song comes on, and it's just beautiful. And I just looked it up, so it's called She Lays Her Whip Down, right? And I'm in my second transformation. I'm working on my internal dictionary. I'm deconstructing love. It's the hardest transformation that I had done, because you really don't realize you're working with the fear aspect of love. And I was in a relationship too, so there was just a lot going on. And so this song starts out really melodically and slow, and he's just like, she lays down, then he goes into like, she lays down her whip, and he does this, and it's just this beautiful thing for like minutes, and all of a sudden he just catches you off guard. He goes, and for the first time in her life, she started to fly. And I went like spiritual chills all through my body, and I'm like, oh, my guns are still loaded. My guns are still loaded. Oh my gosh, I've done all this work and my guns are still loaded. Mentally, there was still more there. And when you lay them down, oh my gosh, right? I got spiritual chills. I talked about it on my check-in that week. And yeah, it's powerful work, because this is where, when we say you got to take the chance to be wrong, it's not because you're bad. It's not because you're wrong and everyone else is right. It's because we're all a little bit wrong, right? Until we figure out why. And it's not wrong because we need to do it another way. We're doing well, right? We're doing well. But we might want to do it a different way, because there's so much more emotional freedom in learning that, hey, my guns are still loaded, right? Oh my gosh, what am I really saying? What am I asking for in my giving? Why can't I comfort myself, and why am I still reacting and hurting people I love in myself by not being able to really speak my truth, honor my truth, and to let it flow like, water, right, through our throat to our heart, right? It's just that freedom. You cannot speak your truth if your heart's blocked, and that's why you work on your tandem and through your throat and your heart chakra. Did you say we have a call?
Yeah, we do.
Thank goodness. Take me off my post.
hang in there. Let me see.
I'm going to send you that song, Diana.
Well,
is that Tim?
Who's on area code 509?
Tim.
Tim, how you doing?
Yay.
Pretty good, Bob. You and I must be about the same age. I'm 66.
I'm going to be a little older.
The only thing that I wanted to bring up
by a few years, by the way.
The one thing, one thing I'd like to bring up about communication is, like me or Baba, it's the toughest thing in communication is listening. Our mind is so fast that we don't listen to the person we're talking to. And I find it's really nice just to listen sometimes. That's a real gift.
I agree. Tim's right.
I agree.
Tim is right.
I agree. Right? And if you think about it.
1 second, though.
Is he talking?
No, it's me.
Oh.
I have to say one thing at a time, Tim. Tim, you have to understand though, listening is an art. It's an art.
Huh?
Too many people don't know how to listen. That's where what this 90-day transformation teaches you how to consider everything that's going on, take it in, chew on it a little bit, and use it.
I like how you said consider everything going on,
Right.
because that's a really good way to look at this. And I haven't used those words, so if I haven't connected to you, this might connect to you, because what it does is, I always say, opens our fissures in our layer of thinking. I mean, I'm very out there, so if you ever have a question about what I'm saying, ask me, because this is the same thing. It helps you consider. What did you say? Consider everything.
Consider everything around you, everything that's going
Yeah.
on around you.
Yeah, because you've been able to, now you're seeing past the eye. You're like, whoa, I'm in a conversation with someone. What is this person saying, and what's going on? How are we responding? There's two people here, right? And I'm not talking am I talking just to be heard because I need to get something off my chest, or am I listening to have a conversation? I was the worst at all of this. I'm not going to lie. The worst. And I'm much better, and I practice all the time. And working with my clients, luckily, it's so amazing, because I get to keep everything that I have earned and go further. Because when I work with my clients, I'm constantly revisiting these lessons. We're working together, and so we're training each other, and we become each other's mirrors. I always say, I'm your first movable mirror. I'm going to tell you things. I'm going to show you things that is not. I have no judgment to it. And you get to mirror it back to me sometimes. I've had that happen. I'm like, oh, you're right. Yeah, let's keep each other on track. And so it's really important that when we are learning to listen, it is about learning to consider everything that's going on around us. I like that. I like that a lot.
I think the dog had a lot to say about that too.
She does. She's like here right now. I was just like, there's Freya.
There you go. And let me see. TJ, do you have anything to add to that?
No, everything's good.
Diana?
What do you think about listening? Does anybody have anything to add?
I will.
I was going to say, Diana's thinking. I can feel it from here.
Yeah, listening is a big thing for me that has come up in the last few weeks. It's so important to listen and get out of your mind and just relax and go with the flow. Like you were just saying, like considering everything around you, other people, like you are not the most important thing going on in the world all the time.
Yes. Isn't that powerful to learn?
I know, it's hard.
It's a little, because you realize all the things that you're doing out loud that really denoted that, right? It's like, oh, my actions were so questionable because I really did think that, the world did revolve around me. And the way that I had designed my agreements for me to interact in them, if they weren't being met, I was very good about leaving. So, shut down, gone, right? That's not communicating. That's not listening, except for anything but what's in here, the fear that's blocking us. That's why we say there's no shame. It's not shameful if you don't know how to listen. It's not shameful if you can't comprehend the different aspects of communicating. This is something that I've spent my whole life working on and perfecting, and I, by the grace of God, was gifted these transformations to work through and to change my life for the best. And I try to remind people that it doesn't mean that you become a different person. It just becomes you become a more centered, grounded, happier person. You might change some things about you. I did. But you might just learn how to curtail or change your inner dictionary. You might just learn how to love yourself more. You might just not need anyone else to make you feel like you are $100, $100 million, that you are amazing or awesome, like Bob says. And if those are the only things you learn, those are the most amazing things you could ever learn. And there's more to it if you want.
And not only that, but when you do that, you make everybody around you
Yes,
feel
it's
better.
for everyone.
Feel better. You're just sending the energy.
Yeah, it's not a it's a spiritual known rule that when we work on ourselves, we heal the world, we heal each other. Each person that heals is healing for everyone. And Diana works has a family that she is, that she lives and grows and breathes out loud with, and Tim does, and so does John. So we all have families, and when we do this work, you will see things start to change, not because you said so, right? But because you're being it.
Everybody agree?
Yes.
We all should try to be better versions of ourselves.
Heck yeah, I use those words all the time. All the time. I'm so happy that they're all three on the line. There's 5 people on this call. Woohoo, 5.
Yay!
Yay! It's the most we've had. It's like ding, 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 ding.
We have a lot of people listening. I mean,
Do we know that's so
eons
cool?
more than are on the phone. But
It's so cool.
listen,
I love it.
everybody,
I want this show to do. I want this show to do well, and I want everybody to have a place to come hang out and listen to conversations and hear about transformation work and share their ideas and call in. And so, if you love the show, keep coming back and share it, because we want to be worldwide. This is an energy that we're giving out. This is love that we're growing, and there's any one of you could, have your own podcast. You might fall in love with what's going on and decide, hey, I got a message. I got something I want to share,
And
that's what's really cool.
That's what they can actually do. And that by doing this, by doing what you're doing, you're allowing the world to come to your show.
Yes.
It's everybody can be here. I mean, I can have, like I said, I can have 1,000 people.
Yeah.
I talked
to someone earlier, and they asked if I had special guests, and I said, well, everyone calls in and everyone's considered a special guest. If you call in and you have something that you want to share, or you have a certain broad project or a brand or a record, and you call in, we'll probably talk about that the most, and we're going to definitely share on it. But everyone's equal. Call in, share, be here, ask questions. It's one of those shows where it is like Bob said. I want everyone to call in. I want to be the conduit. I want to bring everyone together. I am going to live and grow out loud, share my mishaps and my joys, and with you guys out there listening. And I have a mission. I have a dream for self-love. It's huge. And I saw something on LinkedIn the other day, and it said, "Tell everybody your dream, what you're doing." And I don't always do that, because I know how big this is, and I grew up with family that didn't really know what I was doing. They didn't understand the transformation work. They didn't understand why I used to party and how that took over my life for so long, and they didn't understand the way I was choosing to get better, and they didn't totally understand how I was so excited about it that all I could do was talk about it. And 6 years later, now that I'm here and it's become what it is, they can see that. So it does take time, and especially when we provided information for people to understand their relationship with us. And that's not going to change over time, especially if it's not someone you're in a relationship every day. If you provided everyone the knowledge base that they have, I mean, obviously, we work on this in week 9 or week 8 in a transformation expectations. A lot of people have memories of you that are frozen in their mind, and that's their last place of reference, and they're going there no matter what you've done. If you're not on the phone with them, if you're not talking to them, if you haven't seen them, if you're not like Bob and JK were talking about, if you're not in that real contact with someone in front of them, talking to them verbally, voicing, showing them through your actions who you are now, they're going to recall you at that last place. It might not be a place that you want them to. And it might be a great place, depending. I mean, some of us came here to learn a lot of cool stuff through really the tough ways, right? The hard school of hard knocks, is that what they call it?
Mm-hmm.
I always say I always learn things the hard way, but I wouldn't change it. I love my life. I wouldn't change one thing. And I think that, that's where we're going within. I really had some huge epiphanies. We're taking self-love to a different level. I know people don't really want to hear about me testifying all the time. So we're going to open it up to make it more fun. And, I had a quote come to me the other day when it said, when I'm not holy, I'm part of the whole. And it really freed me, because when you're on a master's path of enlightenment and you work so hard to change everything about you so you can get to these levels of awareness and consciousness. You question what parts, how far are you going? How much do you get to participate in a real relationship? And it's only for you to know. And I've worked with one other master. I worked with my aunt, and then I worked with my book, with my two, my Rosicrucian mystic, Pensatia and Master H. But there's one human that I worked with on Earth, a master, Dr. Kapil Gupta, and it's my fourth transformation. And one of the things he said to me was, "There's always time for that later. You've gotten, when we get this far, it's not much further to go to be a living Buddha, to have a crystal mind, to have that spiritual perfection. But why do it now? Wait, it's like, enjoy your life, get out there, right? We're here if we're spiritual creatures here to have a human experience, then let's go out and play, right? Let's go out and meet each other. Let's go talk to each other. Let's get from behind these screens, right? Let's figure out how to bridge out of our circumference. And so with a radio show that I could take anywhere, with friends that I have all over the world that are really well connected and beautiful and that will help me do things that I need to do. And that's my promise, to make self-love more readily available, that anybody could wear it, because you are it, right? You are love. And love is too, I think. It's that union. It doesn't have to do with male-female. It has to do with companionship. Every man and every woman, every relationship has a masculine or a feminine role. It has to do with the divine union. And when we're able to do that, then I think we really, really, truly experience true joy and bliss. And so that's where we're going. That's where we're going. I'm going to step down. Anybody have anything to say?
Keep growing love.
Well,
like
there you go. You coming back next week?
What?
You can hear me. See? Listening. Are you?
Keep
She
growing
can
love.
Hear,
I like it.
She can hear me. I'm sure. Diane, you coming back next week, right?
Oh yeah, I certainly hope and plan on it.
And you're gonna tell 10 people about the show, and then tell 10 people to tell them to tell 10 people.
He's back to that Fabergé or that commercial, that organic wheat.
Yeah.
That shampoo. You tell two friends, you tell two friends.
Yeah. It works. Come on. It's like
I dared you to tell. I dared you. You probably didn't see it, or we would have had to work hard. You said you wanted 100 people on the line. I said you invite 100 and I will, but I didn't hear back from you. So like, that's okay. I had clients all morning.
I put out more than 100 ads. Believe me.
Yeah, I know you do. Thank you so much.
Tim.
Anybody have anything to add, Tim or JK?
Oh, I didn't hear you. What?
Tim, you got the floor. You want anything? We're at the end of the show. Would you like to put in a couple of cents?
Yeah, Kellie said she lived up on Capitol Hill. I went from Capitol Hill out to Oglala Sioux Teepee because I wanted to get the power circle. You know where I went? Duval. It's the wettest place in the world, and I lived in that rain wet place for 2 years in a teepee. Man,
that's so awesome.
it was something different. When I was young, I was crazy. Now I'm an old man.
And you're
I'm
still
pretty
crazy.
yellow.
Yeah, you're
So crazy.
Yeah,
I love you guys.
that's the way it goes. JK, what's up?
Hey, I'm getting old too there, Bob.
We are not getting older. We're getting better. Truly, come on.
Yeah, that's true. Better,
I mean,
better is old.
on life, be it personally or universal, we are getting better. We've been there, did that, perfected it, and now we're dangerous.
Infernal journey.
Yeah, I'm serious. I mean, it's terrible.
Music.
So there you go. Kellie, all yours.
I just want to tell everybody out there, that we can learn to let go of fear, pride, and ego. And it doesn't mean that you still don't have your edge. You will have your edge. It will just be love-based, right? And you can be yourself free from fear. It's really fun. Come join us. Come join the conversation. And I just want to thank Pyramid One Radio. I want to thank John Allen down in Australia for always getting this, packaged and out so soon. And tell everybody, so I want to tell you all that I love you. Self-love will heal the world, but one heart at a time.
Well, there you go. We are so cool. Thank you very, very much. You are honey, for sure, to the world. Now, to everybody, now you can go into the archives later on. You can get a copy of this. On Wednesday, I will be talking to the state of Washington, where guess who is? Yep, that lady you just talked to. Right, exactly. His name is Dr. Randall George Nozawa.
Yeah.
Yes, he is going to be on with me. Now, you definitely, absolutely have to hear this man's story and what he's going to talk about. And trust me when I tell you, you are going to be glued. I mean, absolutely, totally glued to the speaker. So we will see you at 6 o'clock on Wednesday right here on Pyramid One Radio. God bless y'all. Bob Charles.